It's been a couple of months since the release of Rastakhan's Rumble, and the arena meta has stabilized. Oftentimes, players draft cards that they think are strong, even though some of them perform worse than appearances suggest. This is what we call an overrated card. Today, we'll be giving you our list of the most overrated cards in Arena. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel in order to keep up with TempoStorm's Hearthstone content. We're going to start off this list by discussing class cards, and from there we'll end up with the most overrated neutral card. Without further ado, let's begin. The first card on our list is Wandering Monster. Tons of players draft cards in Arena as if it's the same game mode as Constructed. However, you're not guaranteed secret synergies, and the opponent can easily play around the card by not attacking your face. In Arena, controlling the board is how you win most games. This secret has no impact on the board and requires the opponent to make a mistake in order for you to get value. With an aggressive hero power, your game plan is to curve out as early as possible with quality minions, and in later turns, finish the opponent off with Steady Shot. Explosive Trap is the most commonly picked hunter secret in Arena, and the same logic that applied to Wandering Monster applies here as well. In fact, Explosive Trap brings out an even worse effect. When most people play Explosive Trap, oftentimes they make it obvious that they have it by setting up the board into a state where most minions have 2 health or less. This gives players the opportunity to play around the secret, rendering it near useless. The strategy almost never works unless you're close to death yourself. This is because you can simply not attack the hero and keep developing a stronger board. When you're ready to activate a trap, you've already developed way more minions on the board that can take 2 damage, and the hunter will never regain the board again. Both secrets have such a low win rate, yet they're among the most commonly picked cards for the class. One last hunter card we'll mention is Dire Frenzy. The hunter spell suffers the same problem, as people tend to pick cards they're familiar with and Constructed. In Arena, you're not guaranteed to draft a lot of beasts. Moreover, not all beasts are even good, and you shouldn't be taking all the beasts offered when there are better cards available. There are also cases where Dire Frenzy is just a dead card in your hand because you have no beasts to activate the spell. We talked about bad hunter secrets, but mage secrets also have the same problem. Mirror Entity and Explosive Runes are picked a lot in Arena, and they often give you less value than a vanilla 3-mana minion. The worst part about these cards is how there are a variety of ways to play around them. Minions with Divine Shield only lose the shields against Explosive Runes, while Death Rattle minions can trigger their Death Rattles earlier. Against Mirror Entity, the opponent can play a smaller minion than what they already have on board to allow a favorable trade to happen. These mage and hunter secrets all share the same fundamental problem. It gives your opponent control to how they'd play around these cards. In Arena, being in control is very important to dictate trades and generate value. If you give your opponent that option, you're setting yourself up for failure. One other mage card we want to talk about is Daring Fire Eater. Dealing 2 additional damage with your hero power is not strong enough to justify the body only being a 1/1. For 3 mana, you want a minion to have competitive stats such as Pyromaniac or a Dragon Slayer. If on turn 3, your opponent drops a minion with 4 health or more, you cannot play this card to counter the 4 health body. If you have no other 3 drops, you're already behind. Sometimes you need your hero power for just 1 damage, and any additional damage is pointless, which makes Daring Fire Eater useless in these occasions. In general, the card is rather situational. You can't afford to have weak reactive effects in your hand while your opponent gains more board control. Moving on to another class, let's look at the Paladin card Flash of Light. Spells that only restore health are really weak in Arena. This is because most Arena games rely on minions to win you the game, and healing your face is often not too important. The Paladin identity in Arena is using curve minions and buffing them to beat your opponent. While you can heal your minions with Flash of Light, you'd rather have cards like Potion of Heroism that prevent your minion from taking any damage to begin with. Drafting towards healing synergy is problematic, as it's impossible to know if you'll even be offered similar cards. In Arena, you often want to pick individually strong cards rather than relying on synergy with mediocre cards. The final class cards we'd like to talk about here are Blazing Invocation and Witch's Apprentice. Shaman tends to have a bunch of random cards in their toolkit. However, not all random cards are equal in power level. Cards like Blazing Invocation can easily offer only bad minions. Despite Shaman having many quality Battlecry minions as well as many neutral minions available, there are also many bad ones. Discover effects can be powerful, but if you discover something bad, you're wasting mana. Sometimes this will lose you the game, where there are lots of good curve cards you can pick instead. The same logic applies to Witch's Apprentice, which is bucketed even higher than Blazing Invocation. Shaman tends to have good spells in general, but once again, it's a random card compared to several premium minions in its bucket. Random effects tend to be valued highly by players because of its fun factor. Pulling an answer when all hope is lost can be a memorable moment. While having fun is an important aspect of the game, sometimes it's valued too highly. Winning is fun too, you know. As for the other classes, there aren't really that many obvious cards that we call overrated. Rogue right now can definitely encounter a problem of drafting too many weapons when your hero power is already a weapon. This reduces the value of other weapons as resources. Priest can run into a problem of drafting too many value-generating cards such as Thought Steal, but lacking a curve to even get to the late game. Spreading Plague is also picked a bit too much when the card usually just prolongs the inevitable of your opponent winning the game. Finally, let's talk about the most overrated card we're seeing in Rastakhan's arena. It's Arena Fanatic. This card is notorious among the top players as a card to avoid unless there's a very specific deck for it. The biggest problem with Arena Fanatic is how slow the card is. At 4 mana, you're looking for a Chillwind Yeti in terms of stats. What you get with Fanatic is a 2 drops worth of stats that dies to just about every 3 drop in the game. You might ask, but won't you get more stats later because Arena Fanatic buffed 3 or more minions? In Arena, tempo is the cornerstone for success. And if you give up the board on turn 4, it's very difficult for you to ever win the board again. The minions you buff would have to be very specific. They have to offer immediate impact, such as a taunt or a rush effect. However, even when they are proactive, you're likely to require some strong reactive spells such as Meteor and Mass Hysteria to survive losing the board on turn 4. The remarkable thing about Arena Fanatic is even at high wins, you'll still see the card quite often. If it's overrated, why is it still showing up at high wins? This is because Arena Fanatic can be quite good in very slow control games. If a Warlock, for example, happened to draft enough reactive tools to assist with getting back on the board, Arena Fanatic would fit in quite well. However, a lot of decks do not have the premium spells, taunts, and rush minions to make Arena Fanatic work. The card has one of the worst played win rates for such a popular card, and decks that have Arena Fanatic also have a worse win rate. If you don't believe us, just try not drafting Arena Fanatic when you next see it, and thank us in the comments when your win rates improve. This wraps up our list of overrated cards currently seen in the Year of the Raven. Oftentimes, cards are overvalued as it's hard to define what makes a card truly powerful, especially in Arena. Are there any cards you think we missed? Let us know in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more quality Hearthstone content. See you next time!